All right, my friends, I did a nice quick approximation of our pretty lady, so we can put her aside for now because I wanted to get into the mixed media bits. So guys, when you're creating a little portrait, I'm inspired by it. It's not an exact copy. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. I don't ever expect for it to come out perfectly. And these circly bits are just some sweet little florals. Now, is everything... Am I pretty darn happy with this? Yes. I did need to adjust it because I did like the look of it when it came underneath her head. And one of the cool things you can do when you're drawing with, just regular pencil graphite is you can smudge it out with your finger and it comes out so cute. Okay, let's get into the mixed media part of this party that I'm super excited about. I cannot wait to try this stencil. I have never had a Finnabair stencil. Just gonna get that little bit off. And my plan is to use stencil around it, and any of it that gets on my little portrait that I have going here, I'll just scrape right off. I've got a handy dandy little palette knife. I'm not super concerned with where this starts and ends. It's just part of the fun of the mixed media, and I'll probably even smudgy the edges just a little bit because I just don't care if it's perfect. Things normally look slightly more interesting if they're imperfect, in my opinion. So if you want it to be just a little sturdier beneath your canvas, which I should have thought about, you can, is this going to be big enough? Too big. You can put something right underneath your canvas to make it a little bit more of a sturdy block. I am not trying to be super precise with my stencil, so that's not going to have as much of an effect. But if you are worried about it, guys, shore it up underneath the bottom of it. It is all good. So I've got her down here. I want to make sure that she definitely has some of these goodies coming in towards her. Some of the goodies from the modeling paste. And then I have to set this aside to dry, which I can use a heat gun. Definitely can do that. Or I can just set it aside and work on another piece of who knows what kind of goodness. So we will see what we do. I don't really know what my plan is yet. I'm just trying to get the vibe of this. And guys, this is so nice and smooth. This modeling paste, it's quite nice. It's not like it's not chalky feeling at all. I'm getting that in there, and I want to get a little bit more here behind her. And like I said, if anybody or any of it gets on her, I'm not that concerned. It's going to make her look that much more interesting. I'm going to pull it back, and guys, calm down. It's not going to be perfect, but I'm going to love it just the same. Y'all, how stinking cute is that? It's not perfectly right here. It's not perfectly down here. I love that. And I think I'm going to go ahead and just get my thumb slightly wet and diffuse it a little bit so that you can tell it's just fading off. Not a big deal. I'm not like soaking wet, just a little wet to diffuse it. And I'm going to set it, I think it's a super sunny day outside. I'm going to just set it outside to dry. Now, one of the things you can do if you want to play with it is sometimes when you're drying it with a heat gun, if you go up super tight on it, it can actually start to bubble. Isn't she cute already? It can start to bubble and it can be a great effect as well. So you do you, whatever you are liking, but I love it already. See in a little bit. So I went ahead, hit it with the heat gun a little bit, had it outside for a couple, but I'm so impatient. I just need to do what I need to do. I'm gonna let the modeling paste dry a little bit while I work on just color blocking in a tiny bit of her pretty hat, her pretty hair, as well as, oh gosh, guys, I don't even know what color her ensemble is going to be yet. But I'm going to be mixing some paints, just trying to get a vibe for it and a feel for it. Oh, and then her face is going to just be whatever shade of yellowy something I come up with. So I'm gonna just color block a little bit, but so far, guys, she is coming together. Now I definitely want her hat to be a nice lavender orchidy kind of shade. I grabbed just a couple of my cheapy paintbrushes, and I'm gonna start with this color straight up, but I think I'm gonna add a nice amount of water to it to desaturate it. It is so saturated, guys. It's quite exquisite. Now, I love that it's acrylic paint. I love that we have got, okay, yes, perfect. I was wanting to be able to start with the lightest coat possible and then be able to come in and darken as I choose. Now, let me see. I'm just looking at my inspiration piece briefly. So her hat, you see the smallest shadow of it under her chin, but I don't think it's that important to fuss about it. I want her hair to be outlined here. Cute. Like I said, just a little color blocking. Then this part of the hat goes out pretty darn dramatically. I want it to go over here and goes up. I mean, you can wear a gigantic hat like this to just about anything, I think. And then we'll have it come at par. I have it too far down in my drawing. And I'm gonna go smudgy because her hair comes out and it's pretty. Now, let's get that color blocked in. This part's not exciting. I just thought I'd show you a bit of a process that I think needs to be done. I wonder if this eraser even works. That's right here. Not great. Although it did smudgy it really good. Ooh, I got a new eraser recently. I wonder if I can find it. It's a little tiny skinny, cute little eraser. And it's pretty much used for charcoal work, but that's my ticket to get in here while I'm in the middle of painting and erasing all at the same time. There we go. Just wanted it cut a little bit more like that. Boop, boop. Guys, isn't she cute already? She's just such a fancy girl. A fancy girl. I can use just a little bit more underneath these little spots where, of course, it's going to be super dark underneath all of these florals that she's going to have resting on her head. I'm going to come in with more saturation and more saturation. All right, I'm going to keep color blocking. I will come back. This is pretty much just a little bit of a paint by numbers. So I did some nice quick color blocking. I think she's coming along very nicely for her dress color or her shirt color. I have no idea what she's wearing. I just did a nice little mix of the carmine with a good dot of the ochre, and it came into a nice color. And then for her hair color, I have a mix of violet with the ochre. So guys, you can totally come up with so many fun tones. And if you're wondering why I didn't do the florals yet, I have a plan to mix our texture powder with the paints to create really kind of splotchy, messy florals. All right, I'm going to keep working at putting in some shadows. At this point, I'm just using a palette knife and getting nice little blobs that are representing florals on her pretty little hat. I'm going to be using all three of the colors in our mixed media kit here, but I'm also going to mix to get the most gorgeous coral shade, but you're going to see that just a little bit later. I'm mixing it right into the powder. And I'm just going to play with it because I really want to know, how it operates, how much paint I need to powder, all that kind of thing. And I'm going to, needed just a little bit more powder to add to that little bit. But guys, it's really fun. You've got the best little sand texture to this product. And I'm just dotting it on and getting a feel for it. I also decided to see if it would work if I came in with my paintbrush. Look at how pretty it can look if you just draw a little swirly into it. I think it is so stinking fun. that you can add this layer of texture to any of your fun mixed media goodies. Now, I will be popping in a couple of dimensional florals in there as well, but I think her hat is spot on for now. I wanted to make sure to have just about an even amount of all of those florals. Now, I could come in, I want to zhuzh up my ochre just a little bit more. So how should I do this? Let me get my little spoon. And we got a ton of this powder, guys. So have so much fun experimenting with it. It's like the consistency of sugar sand. If you're wondering what it's like, it's very cool. Okay, I'm gonna put some of my ochre in there. I didn't know how I wanted to do it this time. Like if I wanted to have the paint down and then go in or whatnot. So let me see what happens if I take my paintbrush, and I'm gonna mix it with my paintbrush this time. Before I do it with my palette knife, I'm all about the experiment kind of vibe with this. Okay, so cool. All right, let me get some of the paint. I've got very, very, very purpley paint on my palette knife right now, which, guys, I don't mind when I mix things, so that's not gonna be a problem. And yes, I will address the background in a little bit, but it's like she's the star of the show. And then after that, you know, we just make it pretty. It's fine. Okay, let's go ahead. It literally feels like sand. It's so cool. Let me scrape up some of this goodness. And then, I wonder if I should get a smaller one. Guys, I am having way too much fun. Let me get one of my smaller little brushes brought in. Boop. And I'm just getting a piece of that sandy, pretty goodness. I wanted to make this one a little bit more textural, and it was getting kind of caught up. Okay, so pretty. I'm gonna do the same thing. Let me grab a little bit more to bump this one out, and now we can let that dry. And I think it's super fun. Love it, love it, love it, love this process. I think it is the bomb. All right, let me make sure that I have enough purpley something in the background everywhere for her hat. You know, like when I put the dimensional flowers on, I want it to look super cohesive, so I don't have all these little white lines coming through. Probably gonna get my white gel pen to give us some really bold highlights in a second, but yeah, I like where she is. So let's see what we might want to do for the background. I kind of want to do a, like the lightest lavender wash ever. I just don't know how that's going to go. I don't. I'm going to dip my fancy little paintbrush right into that hot mess, get a bunch of it off, and just play for a second. And I just am adding a little bit of a whitewash on to my palette. And the thing is, I don't have a ton of control right now. And when you don't have a ton of control, y'all can be so much looser and just do what it needs to do. But we were staring down too much white there for a minute. And this paintbrush, it's like, it's so scuffy that I think it's super fun. Now, I don't like that blobby bit right there. So I do have some white craft paint that I keep handy, you know, because use it to kind of tweak things when you create. This is not in the mixed media kit, guys. Use whatever. Use whatever. There we go. We're getting a little bit more of a flow in my messy mess. So I did want this to vibe with an orchid tone as opposed to the deep purple, because if we take away too much or pop on too much of this purple tone, let me make her part of this, then we're going to not see her as strongly, and she runs things. It's how it is. So that's letting us see a nice amount of our palette. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? I know this is a little longer of a video. It's a bit of an art tutorial, and guys, you don't see a lot of that from me, but artist background. I was an artist first. Love all kinds of crafting, love paper crafting, love all of the things. Okay, I think I need to let that dry so I can pick up a nice amount of the white, kind of rolling along the top of it. And then I'm gonna do a little bit of fun stuff with white shadows, all that kind of thing. And guys, this is gonna be done as soon, look at how pretty, guys. As soon as I put on some dimensional flowers that I think I'm gonna steal out of the card kit. Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone. So just messy, messy, simple sides. Not gonna overdo that. I just wanted it so I didn't have these bright white sides and you're like, what are we even doing? Keeping the area around the girl a little bit brighter so all light goes right to her. So I added a little white to my mixture here with the carmine, and I've got the most gorgeous peachy pinky tone ever. So I decided to make this work towards a vignette by adding just a little water into that. And I went ahead also and added a few little florals in that tone to make her hat pop. She ended up wearing a little bit of blush in that tone as well. So I wanted to do a wash of it around the outsides. And then I'm gonna see if I can grab a little bit extra. I think I'm gonna get my palette wet, my palette brush a little wet with it. And now I'm gonna go in and make it just a little bit messier with a concentrated form of that. Guys, I can always add white over it, but be fearless, guys. It's a little tiny 6x8 canvas. If you can't be fearless here, guys, where can you be, right? So I think this is the ticket. The orange with the purple. I am feeling it. I am here for it. It's just one of these things. I keep using more and more of this powder to get to learn about it. And it is teaching me that it wants to go onto the things. Like, so wants to go onto the things. You guys, what? What? Okay, I'm gonna keep playing. I thought I would take you along for that part of the journey. Now what I did is I added some white to my little peachy peach mixture because I was thinking a little bit of brightness in her flowers would be great. And I also smooshed some of the same mixture. I added white as well as our texture powder. So it's really nice and thick. And I think at this point I can add little bits of textural white blooms in her hat. So I've let lots of these bits dry. I mean, they're not fully dry because I have no patience, but we've got lots of the bits drying. So this is going to give us just a little bit of lightness in the middle of these super saturated, beautiful blooms. Let's see, I have 3, let's go with 5 on this one because I have a nice amount of it. I can just do the sweetest little blobby bits. Now, once they dry down a little bit, if I want to go ahead and swirl them or anything, I can. Oopsie, my little napkins. So now it's about time to let this little pretty girl and all of these painty bits spend a little bit of time drying because this is, ooh, that one's gonna swirl so pretty because this is thick. Now I like the idea of just a little bit of that swirl color going in. So guys, I can't stop playing. I just can't. I can't. Just a little bit of white can make all of those colors just be so vibrant and perfect. Look at her with her beautiful, beautiful, messy little floral hat. I love it. Okay, guys, I'll see you with probably this project finished off. I just want to do a little bit of white pen detail. All right, my friends, I'm super happy with her. It is so wet. I went and raided the card kit and found 3 of these itty bitty little gorgeous orchidy colored florals. So I am going to attach them down. If they do not stay down nicely with some liquid adhesive, I'll hit it with some hot glue. But I was thinking it would be so pretty to cluster them like super dramatically in one little spot. And then I'm gonna add some very simple sentiment kind of things. This was in the scrapbook kit and it reads A Glimpse into the Past. And I think I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut that out and attach it down. Then I will have this all finished. Now, I kind of want this into her hair a little bit. So we can move it, and then this one will be right here. So let me squish it down into my wet paint because it'll really stick nicely because I do that. But I think that would enhance her sweet little hat. Guys, look at her. Isn't she cute? I love her. So I'm going to get my scrapbooking title down. I will finish this up and we will wrap up this project. Friends, a nice little title and my sweet girl is done. Love the florals in her hat. This was a joy to create. So guys, I will have links down below for Jolie Kit Club. I have been asked to be a guest designer for a couple months and I am using the mixed media kits and it was an absolute pleasure. I'm gonna let her dry, take a few photos, and guys, I'll be back ever so soon with another video. Bye for now, friends.